I want to tell you a story. How does a young black guy from the ghetto grow up in a rough neighborhood and break free from all of the disadvantages that he faces, and being able to go and travel the world, being able to make six-figure income, being able to stay in a luxurious apartment and move to Mexico. In fact, I've been all over the world, and I've also helped many people, celebrities, influencers, transform their lives. People like Clark Kegley, Kaylin Bowman, and Levin Rambin. How is that even possible? Well, I'm going to share with you exactly how that's possible in this video. And in fact, I suggest that you subscribe because I'm going to be sharing my journey as I identity shift from someone who makes six figures per year all the way to the $1 million level. And not only that, you're going to see as my channel grows and expands and reaches more people just from using identity shifting. Now, if you read the title of this video, it probably says something like, don't pay thousands of dollars for learning identity shifting, because in this video, I basically want to teach you how to do it for free. I want to share with you the ins and outs on exactly how it works and how you can do it too, so you can start experiencing results with identity shifting. So just a quick disclaimer before we start this video. What I'm going to share with you is completely different to what most people are going to teach you about identity shifting, because it's beyond the mind, it's beyond our reality, and you have to have an open mind when you digest this information and put it into implementation. Okay, so the first thing that we need to implement, step number one, is we need to understand that there's no such thing as mastering your mind. I know there's many philosophers and teachers and law of attraction teachers that will teach you need to master your mind in order to master your reality. And even I've said it in the past, but when I say it, I'm saying it from a different place. And I want you to understand this on a deep and profound level so you can literally transform your life. In fact, this one tip, this first step that I'm giving you right now can completely transform your life if you just implement this alone. So I want to start off with this. Sadhguru says that once you experientially know that you are not the body and you are not the mind, there is no possibility of suffering for you. Also, the Buddha says the root cause of all suffering is attachment. So if you're someone trying to master your mind and you're attached to your mind and you're identifying with your mind, you're identifying with your emotions, you're identifying with your thoughts, you're identifying with your belief systems, it's just creating more suffering. It's just creating more problems. And like Sadhguru says, you are not the mind, you are not the body. And so if you're not the mind and you're not the body, who are you? You are the vehicle running this system. And we are indestructible, so to speak. You may have heard people like Dolores Cannon or other spiritual teachers say that we are infinite beings. We can't really die. And so what is that? And we got to understand, when we close our eyes, we can still see. If I say elephant without using your mouth, you can hear the word elephant in your head. You might be able to see the words elephant, you might see an actual elephant, and you will hear the words elephant without using your physical ears. How is that even possible? So are the ears really hearing? Are the eyes really seeing? And so what we got to understand is that fundamentally we have to step back a little bit and imagine it as if we're watching this world as a video game or cinema screen, and that we are the controller or the awareness of this video game or movie screen. You are the awareness of it. And so when we are engaging with the mind, we are engaging with things that can lead to suffering, lead to problems, lead to challenges, lead to your belief systems manifesting outcomes that you don't want to manifest. If we look at Dr. Joe Dispenza, in his meditations, he's always teaching you to practice to go to the zero space where everything is nothing. And this is where you want to manifest from. You want to manifest from the nothing place. But how do you do that? How do you create your reality from the nothing space? Well, the first things first, we need to stop identifying with the mind and realizing the mind puts labels on stuff, because if it puts labels on stuff, it creates certainty. The mind, or the ego, doesn't like uncertainty. Uncertainty is God. And we need to understand that the mind is edging God out, ego. What do I mean when I say that God is uncertainty? Well, if you look at Mother Nature right now, we're uncertain of what's going to happen in nature. We don't know when it's going to rain. We don't know when it's going to be sunny. Well, we kind of know. We can predict it with our technology and things like this, but things are happening all the time, and you don't even know what I'm going to say next in this video. You don't know what's going to happen next year. You don't know what's going to happen next month. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Everything is uncertain, and there's parts of us that are okay with that. We know that the sun's going to come up tomorrow and the moon moon's gonna come up at nighttime and things like this. So we have some sort of certainty, but there's a lot of unpredictability. There's things that we don't know. And the mind is really afraid of this because the mind is designed to keep you safe. The mind is designed to keep you alive, to make you survive. And so things that are unpredictable or uncertain, it gets afraid of. So when you get rid of labels, you step into your true identity. Try and look at this TV screen or this computer screen or this phone without calling it a phone. Try and just be fully present with everything around you right now and don't give anything a label, and watch how beautiful it feels. That you've surrendered. You're not focused on this is happening, that's happening, or whatever it is. You are present, you're in the moment. Power of now, Eckhart Tolle, right? So this is what we got to understand, is that we need to stop labeling things. That I am Gavin and I have a successful YouTube channel and I help people transform people's lives and yada, yada, yada. These are all identifications which actually oftentimes prevent you from moving forward because you put yourself into a box. You're an infinite being, and so if you identify in being an infinite being, you attract and manifest things that align with that. Does it make sense? If you are an infinite being, you can attract infinite amounts of money or infinite amounts of success. But the more that we identify with I am a runner, or I am a singer, or I am a reader, or I am this and that, these are identifications that we're making for ourselves and actually limiting our potential. So Amy Johnson has a teaching that teaches how to transcend the mind, and you can go look into her work. Or one of the things that she talks about is that the sky is always going to be there. It doesn't matter if there's clouds, if the sun is shining, or if it's raining, or if there's a storm, the cloud, the sky always remains consistent. The sky is always there, always remains consistent, and it's never changing. And what we got to realize is we have that too within us. We have this soul or spirit, whatever you want to call it, that's consistently there, is completely abundant, is completely infinite, is complete love, and is indestructible. Just like energy can't be created or destroyed, this part of you can't be created or destroyed. This is our true selves. This is what we should basically identify with more, or realize that's where when we say me, that's who you are. When we say I am is more of identifying with mind, right? You're identifying with ego. I am rich, I am successful. But if you use the word me, you can realize there's a little difference between I am and me. Me sounds closer to you than I am. And again, like I said, I know I'm going completely backwards on what most teachings teach you, because they say I am is the most powerful words in the universe and all of this stuff, which isn't entirely true. I think me is more powerful than I am. So first things first, get rid of labels and who you think you are. You're not your mind, you're not your education, you're not a black man from London who grew up in the ghetto and struggling and didn't have the opportunities to reach the success that he wanted. These are all identifications which only cause you to hold back. Take away all of the labels and step into the true self, the infinite being. Now, just by doing this alone, you have your power back. Sometimes doing this is easier said than done, because sometimes we can be feeling a really negative, charged emotion, and it's really hard to get into that presence state because the emotion is so strong. But this is a very, very powerful teaching that will transform your life. So step number 2 is knowing that everything that you experience in your body, everything that you experience in your mind and your emotions are data. It's just data. It's just his story, history. It's your story that you're telling yourself, his story. And so your history, your past, is just data. It's just information. It's just memory. Your traumas, your hardships, your breakups, your divorces, your challenges in life is just data. It's just information stored in your body, stored in your brain. And we got to understand that on the fundamental level. Yes, what you've been through is very real. I've worked with a lot of people. I've traveled all over the world. I've done one-on-one coaching sessions, group coaching sessions. I've helped many, many people transform their lives. And I hear so many different stories and so many different challenges, from sexual abuse to narcissistic abuse to physical abuse to people having a hard time with their parents and all of these challenges and things that happen to them. So I understand what goes on out in the world. I totally understand, and I'm very, very compassionate about that. But also I want you to know on the other end of the spectrum, because in every result is a polarity. For example, if you've been through trauma, there's also abundance. If you've been through challenges challenges in your life, there's also success, right? There's a polarity to everything. And so I want you to know that I'm not disregarding what you've been through or putting it down or anything like that. What I'm saying is information. And as you know, information is passed on over from your parents to your son from generation to generation. So when Gavin has children, I'm passing over my information to that child. My DNA, my thoughts, my beliefs, my emotions, they're passed on over to the child. Not everything, but the data and the information is there. Don't want to get too woo-woo about this with you, but I did ayahuasca, and the ayahuasca actually showed me how trauma from your ancestry is actually passed over from person to person to person to person. And it's our job to take responsibility and accountability to healing that and shifting it out of our being. So the second step is recognizing that the mind, the emotions, the things that you feel and experience, the things that manifest that you don't want to manifest in your life is data that's inside you that needs to be shifted, that needs to be reprogrammed, that needs to be healed, that needs to be let go of. So how do you do that? Well, you do that with step number 3, which is getting your brain and heart in alignment with your goals. So oftentimes what I've found is people create these big goals, and when they create these big goals, they experience obstacles, and these obstacles are a reflection of your own data, the information that's inside of you. For example, you can set a goal for becoming a successful online YouTuber. You set the goal, put it out there, and sometimes people face some difficult challenges on making that happen, whether that's procrastination or something in your life goes completely wrong and then you have to push that project back, or your money isn't right, or maybe your money is good and then all of a sudden like your tire pops and then you have to pay for that when you wanted to pay for the camera. Things just seem to go wrong because you made this goal, and this is because we have data in us. What universe or God or whatever name or label you want to put on it is inviting us to heal the data. The problem is we don't know this hidden knowledge. We don't know that actually I need to align my heart and my brain to work towards my goals. I need to heal the things that are preventing and creating obstacles for me that's stopping me from achieving my goal. What most people do is they hustle and grind. You'll hear people tell you to hustle, to grind, to push harder, to take more action, to sleep less, and things of this nature. Yes, that works in some circumstances and scenarios, but it's also going to destroy your health. It's also going to make you feel like crap, and maybe you'll get to the reward like I did. I hustled, I grinded, I got to some success, but when I got there, I had adrenal fatigue. I was really tired. I had pernicious anemia. I was in a toxic relationship. I was around the wrong people. What ended up happening is I lost all my money, I lost all of my success, and I had to restart. And I restarted from a different energy. I restarted from abundance. I restarted from having the right belief systems, the right emotions, so that my heart and mind was congruent with the outcome that I want. So that I'm not pushing myself or willing myself or hustling or grinding or discipline. No, discipline is not required when you really enjoy something. You can't help but do it because you enjoy it. So you don't need discipline. People talk about discipline all the time, which is mind stuff. But if you get your heart stuff in it, if you get your heart in it, it's game over because you're passionate about it. And so you become unstoppable. You become more disciplined automatically. So here's what you need to do. This is very profound and it's taken from my shifting process called neutrality shifting. I like identity shifting, but I created my own process called neutrality shifting, where you pick the goal that you want. Let's say, again, it's wanting to build a successful YouTube channel. You would ask yourself, what is the worst thing that can happen from me creating a successful YouTube channel? And so you want to literally imagine what is the worst thing that can happen. What can your mind or brain or ego fathom coming up with? Where does the imagination go? And again, most law of attraction teachers are not going to tell you to focus on the positive or think of what's the worst thing that can happen. Only focus on the positive, right? No. Why are we avoiding something that's within nature? We need a negative and positive side of a battery to make things run. So what is the worst thing that can happen? And so your brain might say, well, I might get exposed, or people will find out that I'm doing it, or I have to go on camera, or maybe if I become successful on YouTube, someone's gonna die. Now, I know that sounds drastic, but some of us has these subconscious patterns that say, if I become successful, if I become a millionaire, or if I become this or whatever, someone else is gonna get hurt. So you wanna ask your brain, what is the worst thing that can happen? But where do we get these belief systems? How does it even happen? Well, it happens through watching things like movies. In a lot of movies, you have to be very conscious of what you're watching, because you'll find that in series and movies on Netflix and things like this, the person will reach close to a certain level of success and then something bad happens. Something tragic happens. They'll get very close to success and then something else, an obstacle comes into play, right? And it creates these beliefs and structures inside of you. And then when they're adding the music, they're adding the visuals. So now it's imprinting on your brain and you have a subconscious metaphor blocking you from creating the success that you want now. And once you ask yourself what's the worst thing that can happen, you start to ask that part of you questions. What do I mean by that? So the worst thing that can happen, for in this example, I'm just gonna make up something, that is someone else could pass away or get hurt. So I would ask my subconscious, is that true? Because I'm asking it a question. Is that true? Is someone else will pass away from me becoming successful? And your brain might say yes. And if your brain says yes, why do you think that? So you ask it another question. Why do you think that? Oh, because blank, 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 blank. And then why do you think that? Just keep on asking it questions. When you ask the worst case scenario a lot of questions, what happens is it starts to dismantle the belief. It starts to dismantle the identity. And when you begin to dismantle the identity, now it creates space for you to create a new identity. So when you're doing your visualization or your self-image or whatever technique that you use to change your reality, now it works way better because you haven't got this worst case scenario belief identity there blocking you from it going straight into your subconscious. One of the most profound teachings that I think that I teach people is please uncreate before you create. Please undo before you do. Please antivirus before you run your computer. Please deprogram before you reprogram. Pull out the stuff first so you can create space for something new to show up. So this is the real identity shifting. This is the beginning of you transforming your reality. You're just implementing these 3 steps alone can really radically transform your life. But if you want to take it to the next level and you want to learn more of this process step by step, all I ask is that you buy me lunch once a month. I have an inner circle community where I create multiple different programs on different topics like identity shifting, sexual transmutation, paranoia, to finding your purpose and things like this. And literally all I ask is that you buy me lunch. So the link will be in the description where you can join the inner circle to properly learn identity shifting and really transform your life. And that's about it. Leave a comment below and show me the profound shifts that you got from this video. And remember to keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.